Hello, everybody, and welcome to the September 28th, 2021 instance of the Kubernetes SIG Windows community meeting. As always, these meetings are recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so be sure to adhere to the CNCF code of conduct and standards. Let's start with some announcements. The first announcement is, again, we're congratulating Claudio for his promotion to tech lead, and we wanted to thank Deep again for all of his work before. This was announced back in either end of April or May, and we didn't have anybody kind of have any, like, we didn't have any reason to not move forward with this promotion, except that I went on parental leave very shortly after, and this kind of just got dropped. So we're finishing this up, and I believe all of the PRs to swap Deep for Claudio are kind of in place. So congratulations again, Claudio. And I don't see Deep on the call. Deep's been unable to join SIG Windows meetings for a while, but I do want to thank him again for all of his work. He did an incredible amount of work kind of early on and with the Windows bring up, and then continued with a lot of the Windows storage related work with driving CSI proxy to stable for Windows and all of that. So thank you, Claudio, and congratulations. The next announcement is Docker 2010.8 has some fixes for Windows containers that people are probably interested in consuming. There was an issue where pod or container deletion would sometimes fail if the HCS shim returned in a kind of an error code that wasn't handled, and containers would be left around and stuck on the machine. There's more details in the debug there, but if anybody's using Docker or Moby, highly recommend updating to a newer version. I don't think that Docker EE is out yet, but I think we're expecting that package anytime from Mirantis. Does anybody else have any announcements? If not, we can go into the agenda. All right, first agenda item I wanted to ask, is anybody planning on attending in person for KubeCon North America? I don't think any of the leads are. I was just curious if there's going to be any representation from SIG Windows or not. There are a couple of in-person events like a SIG meet and greet that are scheduled. Brenda, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I'll be there in person. Same with Muzz.
Okay, if you guys are interested, we can maybe have some of you attend on like some of the SIG meet and greets on behalf of SIG Windows. I will follow up with you guys offline. And if anybody else is interested in any of that, please just reach out to myself, James, Claudio, Jay, any of the leads here. And also I will probably be canceling the community meeting during that week to give folks a chance to attend and any talks or kind of virtual events or in-person events that they'd like. If anybody has any questions about KubeCon, just feel free to reach out in Slack.
We also have at least one recording that will be played during the week, kind of showing off host process containers as well as the dev environments that everybody's been working on. So I think there might be one other one, and if you let us know.
I think there was this one related to service mesh. We'll make sure to get those on the agenda next week and share the times for anybody who's interested. Yes, thank you for highlighting that, James. All right, Jay, next agenda item is yours. Do you want to cover? Is Jay on the call? All right, Jay is not on the call. So
it's going to be a few minutes late, so we can put that to the end.
Yeah, okay. Next one is one that I thought was interesting. I think, and actually Lubomir is here too to discuss this. Claudio opened this PR, Arvind, I know, commented on it. Lubomir commented on it. I don't see much action on this, but I thought this would be good to discuss in the community meeting. So there's proposed changes to how, I think Claudio found a library, this library, Go ACL, that allows you to set file permissions for Windows in a manner similar to how they're kind of specified and expressed in Linux and in a lot of the Golang libraries. So there's some discussion here, and I think that we determined that the library was healthy in terms of kind of an open source project and being able to take a dependency on it. The next question was, is this something that we should kind of move forward with? And it doesn't seem like there's any kind of red flags here or reasons why we shouldn't. Claudio, do you want to comment on this?
Yeah, I've known this library for some time ago. I tried to do something similar, but ultimately I found this library instead, which basically does the same thing. I had the idea of mapping the Linux style permissions to Windows for some time, and apparently we can do it to some extent due to Windows's API. And that's what this library is doing. It's setting those generic read, write, and execute permissions for the file owner group, and I think others or something like that, which pretty much correlates to how the Linux permissions are set up to be. This will also allow us to enable a couple of features for Windows as well. And if you check the PR, we're actually enabling a couple of E2E tests for Windows as well, which directly relates to file permissions. There are still a couple of them which are not yet enabled, but that's mostly because it requires to run as non-root. But that's something that can also be addressed by running as, as a container user instead of container administrator for Windows. So the list of tests that we support from conformance extends. There are still a couple of things that I was still having issues with, and I kind of forgot exactly which they were, but they were regarding which one was it? There were a couple of empty dir scenarios which were a bit more interesting and are still failing for some reason. I still have to look into that.
Is it like memory backed empty dirs or?
I don't think we support memory
Yeah,
backed.
I was gonna say, I don't think those are supported.
Yeah, no, but there are two different tests which are still failing. I don't think I've noted them here. I don't think so. I should have noted them. Yeah, I should have included the list. I had the list at one point, but I lost it.
Oh, no problem.
How
Yeah,
does
so,
this,
or go ahead, James.
how does this relate to the projected volume stuff that Abrahams was working on? Did you look at that at all?
I haven't. I was hoping that it would help him, but I'm not sure how much it does.
Yeah, it looks like this is kind of discussed here. So Arvin's on the call. And then Lubomir, I see you're raising your hand.
I think the biggest question around this is whether we agree that the mapping between the Windows SIDs and the Linux permissions is actually something that we consistently rely on. If we, for example, is there a possibility for a particular Windows host to drift from this presumption, or is it like it?
It is documented on the Microsoft documentation site that those SIDs are constant.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the first link in the PR there links to the well-known SIDs.
Yes, I know that they're stable, but I'm just basically trying to poke at the problem in a way that, like, what can go wrong, like with this binding in the library, and maybe nothing, maybe everything's going to be fine. I would like to someone who is an expert in the SIDs and the permissions on Windows to have a look at the library and basically put a stamp on it. At which point we can say, okay, this is something we can use as a mapping.
Yeah, Brandon, Muzz, Jing, is there somebody that, do you think, I think we could probably take this offline and take a look at this, this library, and
Yeah,
just make sure.
Yeah, this issue's been on the back burner for me, and I need to focus on it a little bit more in the next few weeks. So yeah, definitely, I'm happy to take that on.
Okay, Arvin, did you have anything to?
Yeah, so I hope you folks can hear me. I've been having audio issues.
We can hear you.
Okay, cool. So to answer James's question, this would help me in the sense that when I was working on that PR, I actually ended up writing some of the code instead of just using that library. So it'll help me in that way, that if we are okay, because at the time, I think, James, you were worried that the libraries, you know, you were not 100% sure. But if we have overcome that, we could, the way it would help me is I could just use that library for making some of these changes. But in many ways, what Claudio is doing is sort of orthogonal. He is setting the permissions correctly, whereas that the projected volume issue is actually with the ownership. So, you know, it really won't help there, but we could use this library there is what I'm thinking.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and I have not done any work in that area yet. I'm just waiting to hear back from you folks, from Microsoft, about how that the user permissions work up. And it's been on my back burner to write up this doc. I've sort of written up a bit of a doc to document the current state of projected volumes, and I've been going back and forth with David Eads on that. So at some point, I'll again bring that PR up and everybody can take a look.
Yeah, we can definitely chat about this.
Okay, yeah, so I guess the next steps are somebody from Microsoft to kind of just give that a review and make sure that there's nothing that could be subverted or anything there. So, okay, Jay, do you want to, we skipped this, but since you're here, do you want to talk about this this agenda item for a little bit?
Yeah, which one?
You added about the scalability and perf tests.
Oh yeah, so we did get a response last week. So I just wanted to mention, we got a response on the perf tests for those in Slack, and it definitely is the place. So I think now we know what needs to be done, and now it's just a matter of kind of doing it, which is going through the code and kind of figuring out how it works. I'll probably start on it if no one else gets involved, but I'm sort of tied up in other things right now too. So I just wanted to bring that up again for folks. Does anybody want to look into that, or if folks want, we can look into it during the pairing session or whatever. But I think it's a relatively well-bounded project now that we know we're doing, so it could be a good getting started issue.
Yeah, for anybody who wasn't here last week, some folks kind of were following up on a conversation that started with this issue, where nodes would get into an unhealthy state if pods were admitted too frequently to a cluster, and then that led to a discussion about what can we do and who is interested in working on kind of more official perf and scale tests for Windows, and this is following up on that.
I mean, I can start looking into it because I have some experience from back in the day with it.
Cool.
But my time is highly limited, as I'm doing the exact same thing for Containerd. So if along the line somebody else wants to, I'll gladly help you get set up and anything else that's needed. But yeah, I can start looking into it.
You mentioned that you're doing the same thing with Containerd. Is there something that you might be able to share in the next, some of the upcoming community meetings about any findings that you have there?
Yeah, definitely. I have some numbers, just trying to get some scenarios working properly, and yeah,
Okay,
I'll share.
great. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, if anybody else is interested, reach out to any of these folks here. And I think this is something that we could, like SIG Windows could really benefit from. I don't know if I have time to look into this release either. Kind of in the same boat. It's a lot of people. All right. Next agenda item is host process PR and CAPZ. Is this you, James?
Yeah. I just wanted to point it out. I was able to get the CAPZ end-to-end test passing, and I also ran conformance or the Windows end-to-end test, the Windows and Kubernetes end-to-end test against it. So it's ready for folks to take a look at, and go look over and make sure things are going the right direction here. So I just wanted to call attention to it because it's ready for review. So if anybody from SIG Windows is interested, but it's using host process containers and then and Calico to do this. And I've built the containers in SIG Windows tools as kind of examples to get started. I also started to do a little bit of work upstream in Calico to push this up there, but with the changes that we have coming potentially with the way that the volumes get mounted into these host process containers, that kind of is stalled because it required some pretty not pretty changes to map all the environment variables, right? So currently I just have like a PowerShell script that does some find and replace and pushes all the binaries in the right place. But yeah, go ahead and take a look, looking for some feedback. Yeah, I think it's pretty close to being ready here.
How did the results of those conformance tests look compared to like previous setup or bootstrapping methods?
Yeah, so I ran the 300 or so tests, and I think 4 failed. 2 of them I knew about because we had some issues with the images last week, and then there was one that I didn't quite know what happened, but I haven't rerun them yet. But I'm working on making that an automated process so that we can run them continuously and figure out if there's any flakes or something like that.
Awesome, great progress.
Cool.
Does anybody have any questions for James about host process containers or how like bootstrapping a cluster API with containerd?
So I guess, James, the one question I would have is, this stuff is all so bleeding edge and advanced. We're all really excited about it, but how could we, unless your name is Danny or Pere, like how can like us mortals help you with this, I guess? Or is there anything specific you're looking for? I mean, it's really exciting, right? Like it's going to change how all of us install CNIs. So I'm definitely looking forward to stealing this. The question is there anything we can do in the interim to help?
Yeah, I think that this one here is pretty specific to CAPZ and just sets up the configs properly. But that other PR that I have in SIG tools has kubeproxy and Calico images built, and you should be able to take those and reuse them in your environment. You could build a Docker image there and give it a go. And I think even for like SIG Windows dev tools, we could potentially try using this over installing it directly on the node. So that would be like using these Docker images and doing it that way.
Okay, so one possible thing is just use it outside of CAPZ and start testing it generically. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I was curious about one thing about host processes. I don't know if you know the answer or not, but can we use Scratch-based images for host processes? That would be nice.
Yeah, so you have to give an image, but the image isn't actually used. Well, some of the binaries from the image are used, but like the booting of the image, the processes that just run right on the host. So there was discussions during the KEP whether or not we might potentially have like a scratch image that you could use. But there's like 3 or 4 components that are needed to actually boot the image. But I think it got scrapped temporarily. So if there is a desire for that, maybe we can bring that conversation back up. Brandon, I don't know if you have more to add there.
Yeah, I think that there was, during the discussions, there was still a need for some sort of a Windows-based image, similar to like NanoServer or Server Core that you build your images on top of. I think that like the discussion said that it could be feasible to make a super slim image similar to a Scratch image that people could base it off of, but you do need to base it off of a Windows-based image. Yeah. Brendan, Danny, I think you guys were the most involved in that conversation. If you have anything else you wanted to add.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it's just if there's demand for it, then we're happy to take a look into it. But it seems like most people are happy with the regular base image.
Just including Nano, or just starting from
Yeah.
NanoServer if you want the smallest image.
Right.
Okay.
So James, just for me to understand, when you run these demo sets, you will be able to manage the demo set from the API server as another demo set.
That's correct. Yep. Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
the only difference is that you have these Windows, the security context and the Windows options on the host process, and then you can enable this host process option.
Yeah, right now there's a feature flag or feature gate that needs to be specified in the Kube API server and the kubelet for all of the nodes. And you do need to be running with kind of a pre-release version of Containerd, which is called out here because the most recently released version of Containerd, which is 1.5.4, I believe, does not have full support for host process containers. But as long as you have those two things, you can, where's an example? You can specify the security in the security context that you want the host process container and manage these CNI or these daemon sets. Manage your CNI as a daemon set, just like on Linux.
Okay, and it needs to be a host network as well.
It does. That's a requirement for the host process feature. Right now, we had plans to eventually have another enhancement come in where you can mix. So right now, there's a requirement that all of the containers in a pod need to be host process containers and need to request host network permissions. There will be hopefully future enhancements coming where you can mix those in with you can mix host process and non-host process containers in the same pod and not have the pod be joined to the host network.
Okay. Thanks.
Brandon linked some documentation, some better documentation for how to create and run the host process containers.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or trouble, just reach out to me and I'll help. I've been doing it for a few months now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Does anybody have anything else to add? We're nearing the end of the 30-minute session. And if not, we can hand it over to Jay. Are you going to lead the pairing session this week?
Yeah. I have an interesting HCS shim issue that might be worth looking into. I'll post the link to it here just in case, since we have 3 minutes. And then we can pair on it after the 3 minutes. But I have a general question that's a 2-minute question, which is, does HCSim like nest errors inside of itself? Like, is that a thing? Like, because I'm looking at this error message that I just posted in Zoom, and I'm like, it looks to me, this came from an internal engineer, they reported this, and I was like, well, when I look at this, it's weird because it looks like the error message has another error message inside of it and another error message inside of it. But I can't fully tell. I'm not sure. I may have just like copied it wrong.
I've done some a little bit of changes, and they do tend to wrap error messages. I think like, and Danny or Brendan can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times the error codes returned from like the actual operating system calls don't have any context that would help in actually debugging. It's just like, here's the error code. So HCS shim tends to wrap errors that got returned from some of the system calls to add context on them. And I believe that sometimes the context that gets added to the errors may not look like it necessarily matches the errors that are returning, but in general, those are added for debuggability purposes and actually are relevant to the error. But
okay, we can dive more into it right now, folks want. So cool.
All right, let me stop the recording and then hand it over. I'm going to drop to Signode. Bye all, and thanks for attending, and hope you all have a wonderful week.
Cool.
All right, I'm gonna drop in.
Cool. I'll join and just give me leader and I'll take over. Thanks, Mark.
Yep, thank you.
Let's see who's hanging out today. Okay, let me join from 1 second.
Recording in progress.
Sorry about that. Okay. Here we go. So anybody got anything else they want to look at before I dig into this other thing that I posted?
Jay, me and Frederick has some updates in the SIG Windows Dev tools. Maybe it would be cool to share something.
Yeah, well, I'd love that. Yeah. Why don't you just, you want to share your screen? Go ahead and share it. Or if you want, I can drive, whatever works for you.
No, I'll do it. So basically we have been struggling the last days to integrate the image builder inside our environment, the SIG Windows Dev tools. And we have some successful approaches in this process. And this is good news because we now have a standardized way to bring the image builder cap used in production for everywhere, and then we can bring this in our environment instead of building our own fork. This will reduce the time as well. So we have created like this experiments image builder folder here where you can keep all these things. We have been documenting this information here, all these tabs and what the image builder is doing. So spend a lot of time working through the image builder process to understand how we can build the same thing for VirtualBox. So now we have one way to do this with VirtualBox as well as a hypervisor. Create this simple script here called an image builder SH. And this is only a wrapper for the Packer and make build node box local. So
is this all merged in the code, I mean, or is it still under review?
It is merged.
Merged.
Yeah. Cool. So what we are doing right now is like overriding, creating this. I'll explain very fast what the approach we took here. So basically, we have this build on VirtualBox that creates this PR is open there on Image Builder. But on our side, SIGDev Windows box, we have two steps here. The first one is build configuration, where you can override the Packer configuration with the information you want. So you can pass like ISO, the runtime, and custom roles for Ansible to run on top of the existing Packer. And after that, we have some default settings that we keep on our side. We can improve these, like doing some JK fancy stuff, or but we have XML as well, so it's a little bit tricky to get a more generic rule for merging these files here. But basically, we create another overlay and copy one by one the files you want to overwrite in the custom VirtualBox folder. So in the end, we just run the target here, and we have like this double quotes custom box that we want in our environment. I have not built this, but it's simple as running. It will take a little bit time to build this, but we can like pass a few variables, like I'm sending my repository and my own branch and the ISO image I am using, so we can run like image builder in the end. The default will be the upstream URL. So basically all we need to pass is the ISO image that you want from MSDN. So it will create a dot box in the end, and in the example here, I'm importing inside our Vagrant file. So our Vagrant file got very smaller because we don't need to install all the Hyper-V and SSH and all the other PS that we had before. Now everything is already inside the box. All we need to do is like join the node in the cluster and install Calico. This process is the CNI is still needed to do in the end because we need the node to be joined. So if you have one way, this is like some to-dos of things. So if you have one way to join the node in the middle of the build, we could install the CNI. But this is some other improvements that I can do. So we are keeping the same CNI installation and the join them. Basically have, if you see I have everything set up here. So we have the control plane and the Windows node, so you can SSH in the control plane. Pero you got nodes, and I have the Windows node ready.
So the workflow, do we do the same makefile workflow now, or we have a different one? Or I'm just like, yeah.
We can reuse half of it, Jay. Like the Calico part and the join part. The rest we can remove.
Okay, cool. So you still do make all?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I have this all running here. I'm just using the Nano server without parameters and these.
You finally fixed that stupid kubectl logs issue. Great.
Yeah. So this is running the Windows box. So, but I didn't have any command. It's just getting the PowerShell command. But yeah, it's kind of running. So the joins running, the nodes running, joined in the cluster. We have like we have SSH in the box, and everything's installed in the box. And this is taking now like around 10 minutes to get the node done and running with the same image builder that we have in upstream. And Frederick added something very cool. This is for you, Jay. Let's say I want to read logs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm on Windows. And this is sad because I don't have good tools to read logs in Windows.
The biggest news of the year.
What?
So you can do like that.
Where are you? What did you do? Oh yeah.
Oh,
you got Vim in there. Did you put Choco on there?
Yeah.
Yes. It's actually a pretty convenient. So I was trying to avoid Ansible for so long, but then I learned that there's actually a really nice plugin for Choco in Ansible, and you just, if you want to add more packages from Choco, it's super easy. And
Oh my
so
God,
we
this
have
is cool.
So
Oh,
yeah,
this is
we
great. So these really are, this really is like turning into an actual developer environment. It's great.
yeah.
Yeah, so we are.
Maybe
we are almost
Claudio will
finishing.
finally start using it. I mean, like, what else does it take, Claudio? We have Vim. You've got Cat. You've got Image Builder.
Does it have the Hollywood command?
Do you want it to make jokes for you?
If it doesn't have Hollywood, then
It's Hollywood.
Well,
I
that's
don't know the
lovely.
Hollywood command.
No.
I don't know what that
Try it.
is.
If you try it on a Linux, you'll see something very nice.
Hollywood.
You might have to install it first.
Ah,
I'm on it. Let's see.
install.
Oh my goodness.
Put it in there.
Let's look for a Hollywood Choco pack.
Okay.
Yeah, wait.
Okay, so I need to start. I haven't used this in a while, so
It's J.
Yeah, so I tried running this last night. I posted in the issue that I got in the chat there, but I was trying it on like my personal machine, which doesn't have a whole lot of CPU and memory, so to be fair, but I saw that there was like a light variable, so I copied those over to your variable file, and then I got the error that I pasted in there. So I don't know.
where did you paste it? Is it an issue? What?
No, in the chat. Yeah, I created an issue and then
Oh, it's in chat. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm looking at it now. Let's see what.
Did you run checking for gas additions?
I just installed VirtualBox and Vagrant, and then just ran. Well, I mean,
Was this on Linux?
no, it was on a Windows machine, Windows 10.
Oh gosh, I don't know if we can do any of this on Windows. I think Frederick tried.
Yeah, we can. I've not looked
okay.
into Windows. I have not looked into Windows for quite a while. Maybe I tested tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of folks are going to come from Windows machines.
Yeah.
If they,
Yeah, so
That's
this
a depression.
yeah, this is tricky, right? Like, so I think how do we do this? So how far did we get? Did you ever solve this problem? This looks like an easy one. This looks like it's something we can, this is a VirtualBox Windows thing. I'm sure that this would be an easy one. Did you ever hit this one, Friedrich?
No, but I have always used Hyper-V on Windows.
sorry, I thought, some reason I thought Hyper-V, you said Hyper-V didn't work. So,
No,
I did Vagrant.
so Hyper-V worked on my machine. The problem is, what was it? Because my machine is a private machine, is not part of a company network. That's not a problem. But I think the shared folders do not work in company networks, because the way Hyper-V uses some kind of network device, virtual device, to do the synchronized folders. And there was always a problem with people. I never could reproduce the problems. So on my end, it worked, but I guess for the majority of people, it would be a computer in a company network.
And then Mark had a problem on Hyper-V too, so he switched to VirtualBox and that worked better for him. So I think the final decision that we made was VirtualBox was going to be the thing that we tested and supported, because we just can't support everything. So yeah, so what we need to do is basically figure out, yeah, we need to get this, okay. We need to think of whether or not we expect it. So the fact that you got it to work on Hyper-V in Windows means that it probably can work on VirtualBox in Windows if we just fix this mount issue. And I assume this is, file system is made available while the VirtualBox guest editions. So the guest editions, where do those come from? The guest editions are installed by a kernel module.
But isn't guest editions something VirtualBox specific?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. It's been a long time since I've played with any of this stuff.
Vagrant guest editions, VirtualBox Windows. I'm just looking for it.
Hollywood is the coolest piece of software I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the first thing I show students whenever they start programming.
What the hell is this?
Oh, this is Hollywood?
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Serious work.
Well, you know how they do it in the movies, right? In Hollywood. That's the same thing that's happening here.
What?
You know, when they show you hacking in movies,
Oh,
that's...
oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay, we need to put Hollywood on there. All right, so Windows, I'm trying to figure out like what to Google for here. Windows, Vagrant, guest editions, VirtualBox, mount. I'm sure this has been solved before. James, maybe it's just a matter of installing a couple of plugins. Is that a possibility? Like if you run Vagrant plugin install Vagrant-VB guest, that might solve it.
But I think then it is our fault, because then we should have defined this in the Vagrant file. You have to write in the Vagrant file which packages are required, which plugins are required. So at least we need to add this to the Vagrant.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering like whether this is something that can be fixed with a one-liner and then we automate it, or is it an easy thing to retest for you, James?
Yeah, I have to go grab that machine, but I can,
Okay. Like I think all you need to do, I'll update the pairing doc with this one-liner.
Yeah, they say it usually is caused by a faulty Vagrant box, so I don't.
Well, that's the other possibility, but I'm pretty sure that's not a problem for us. I'm assuming the Vagrant box is working, but so I added to the pairing.md file, which is here. I'll put it in Zoom, and I'll also put it in SIG Windows for folks. Pairing. So I think there's a possibility that you might be able to literally run that one thing on Windows, and then maybe that'll work. And then you're right, Friedrich, we need to update the docs and everything. I mean, I think the bigger issue is we need to start testing on Windows. With VirtualBox, I have I could repurpose this, I have a machine, I think I could repurpose it as a Windows machine.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab my other machine and see if I can do that.
Cool.
I have Windows on this machine, man, just too lazy to boot Windows.
Yeah. Oh, really? You have Windows on there? Okay, so you can test that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
James
That's great.
helped me actually to grab the Windows Pro license.
All right, so maybe I should try this. So how about I share screen share and then I'll try to run the dev tools. Let's see here. So, all right, so if I go, let's see if it works. So if I open VS Code, here we go. Okay, so James can try that. So if I do git fetch dash dash all, git checkout origin and master. Okay. So now I do vagrant destroy dash dash force.
Do we have any guidance on like what kind of machines we should be running this on? I just pulled up like my personal like really old laptop. It's like I was sitting on the couch last night trying to get it to work.
We have not, and actually I'm pretty happy that you use it on your Windows machines. We get a little input from that side. No, I just know that you're not supposed to use Windows Server. There was a special edition of Windows Server. What was it called? I forgot.
Okay, so the image builder isn't in here. So I have to, so what do? I go to experiments,
Yeah.
CD image builder, and then I run this image builder.sh.
Yeah.
You have to provide a little input, right? Oh,
Yeah, you have to provide a few stuff.
But this is going to take 20 minutes.
Okay, so it wants a, okay.
This is a problem break.
I need to
I'm
read
gonna-
it. I can't just guess. I have to read some.
Well, what you could do is you could use this magic image. Wait, vagrant. Find box.
By the way, seeing image builder get used this way is awesome because it was always something I wanted to try. But it's cool to see it being used locally.
Do you have an
Would it
ISO
work?
file, Jay, locally?
Jay, I post something in the chat. You could use this.
Oh,
So I ran that plugin and it looks like I'm gotten further. It looks like it's doing some like apt-get updates and things. So
Can you in this GitHub issue, can you add whatever plugin you added? So then we
yeah, I pasted in what I was going to try.
Yeah, Friedrich, he wrote it right here.
I know, but I will have forgotten this in 10 seconds.
That's all. Oh my God, this is so cool. So this is gonna work if I use an ISO, you guys?
you can get the box that Frederick just pasted in there.
Can I use a 2022 ISO?
Do you want to build everything or do you want to use a already done image?
I don't know. I mean, it's your thing. This is your deal. What do I do?
It's so
See
crazy.
this?
We have all the options.
Let me see if I got, you got so many. It's like, I just don't even know what you guys want me to do here. Okay, I've got this one.
Yeah, this one is good. So
All
yeah,
right.
passing the view Windows ISO variable.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I think you are in the image builder already. So just go one step down, one folder down.
Where is the? This is
So will we be able to like provide a base image that so that people don't have to build it if they don't want to?
Yep. That's what Frederick just pasted in the end there. He built one and just loaded for testing.
You have this already up.
Where did you
That'll make it
upload?
so fast, right? That'll make it
I
crazy
know,
fast.
I know. Yeah, this is the plan, but it still misses some of the scripts that we are currently running in the vagrant file.
Go one folder down, J, cd dot, because the other folder is called the image builder as well. Yeah.
Oh, so
I don't even know what branch you are. I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, oh, hold on, wait. So it's image build.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fine. There we go. It's missing an auto attend.
Because you need to use my branch. So paste the command I have. You need to set two variables: the image builder repo and the image builder branch. There are two other environment variables that need to send. This is not an upstream image builder yet.
Oh, I got you. Okay, we need to get that merged. Can James, you're here? Can you look at the MR? You have an MR for this, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's get that merged. Let me see. Okay, so my image builder branch is I just do nabin, and then what do I do?
You need to pass the entire thing. Just paste in the chat. Take a look in the chat.
Image builder. Okay, cool. Oh my God. What? Why is that like that? VBox build did not match. Are you sure that's the branch?
Yeah. Maybe that's because you already cloned the repository. Try to do rm -fr. Delete the image builder in the same folder.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, this is the upstream one. You have VirtualBox installed in this machine, right?
Of course, of course I do.
Check.
Who do you think used to run this whole meeting before you showed up? I mean,
Sorry about that, Jay.
let me see what's going on here. What happened?
What?
Okay, so error downloading ISO. Oh, that's my fault. I don't have that.
What do you not have?
Because that I moved it into here.
Oh,
Yeah. These are all just stupid issues with my path. These aren't.
Yeah, do a PWD. Like you are in the.
What's
You
that?
have this source. You have this source folder. What's that?
It's just where I put all my stuff, but like I just don't have the. Okay, that
Oh.
worked.
Yeah.
I think that home direct. I don't know. Let me see. Here we go. Cool. Jesus, one line, huh? Okay, so this is gonna do. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. All right, cool. So this will do the image builder. Oh God. Sure, but why does it care? I don't know why it's asking me for all this stuff. Oh, I mean. Well, this will be 45 minutes, but it looks like it's working, so cool. All right. So we should demo this then pretty soon.
Yeah, I have a branch with the CNI fix, so I clean up the calico. I
Okay.
need to get like it's in a branch.
So I got a little further on mine, and then looks like this shared sync folder isn't being mapped in properly or something. I pasted the error in the issue there.
Sorry, what was that? I thought you were still talking, but I didn't. What did you say, James?
In the issue, I pasted the error I just ran into.
You just ran into a new one. Okay.
Yeah, looks like I got a little further.
Seems to have worked. I got further. SSH responded with a non-zero exit code.
I did install the sync plugin.
Okay, so the files aren't syncing. I think one of us is going to have to just dig into the Windows stuff and see how to get those synced directories working without Hyper-V. So I have a Windows machine. Maybe I can do it unless Friedrich beats me to it. But does Image Builder work on Windows, James? Like, can you run Image Builder from Windows? Because if not, what are people going to do?
Use Vagrant. Download it from Vagrant.
Yeah, you should be able to use Vagrant to do it, I think.
But doesn't Vagrant itself start a VM up?
So Vagrant downloads boxes, right? And we just upload a nice, ready provisioned box to Vagrant, and then people just download this.
Okay, so newcomers, if they wanted to play with these, what they would do is they'd use Vagrant, and Vagrant, they would use a Vagrant box that you've already uploaded.
Exactly.
And they wouldn't be compiling their own kubelet for Windows.
Exactly.
Okay.
I guess that is just a edge case that we say, okay, if you want to be super cool, you can even modify this image builder, but I think that's not where we really want to go. We just want to have our own nicely pre-provisioned box.
Right, because you can just swap out like the kubelet and those kinds of things very quickly, as long as all those other components are installed.
Mm-hmm. It's so cool that we have this now.
Yeah, so burrito J is another thing we need to add. So the image, the binaries are like things that are downloaded from the full installation.
They're pulled from the burrito, yeah.
No, we're not using burrito.
Oh, I thought okay.
We need to add this. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, cool.
What's the Vagrant plugin that does the syncing? What's it called?
I don't know. I think it came on Linux. It came with the necessary plugin.
Vagrant plugin list. I'll tell you. Vagrant Reload, Vagrant VB Guest, Vagrant VMware Desktop are the two that I have. So VB Guest must be it.
Well, that's the one I just installed that got me further. Vagrant Reload I installed, but
Sync should just work then. Maybe there is no actual plugin for sync.
James, are you doing this right now on Hyper-V or on VirtualBox?
Box.
Okay.
Yeah, I've reloaded VB Guest now. That got me as far as the sync folder part.
We need to own the story.
Cool. Well, I got me further, so thanks.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to, this is basically, this is a new thing that we just haven't done yet. So we just got to get it working. So, all right, we'll get on it, James. Cool.
Thanks
So
for testing it on Windows.
Yeah, like I'm glad you kind of found this. So, oh no, what did I do? I just hit X on my terminal. Does it mean that killed the process? What happened? What does it mean if you hit X? Does it like? I don't know what just happened, you guys. I have no idea what. Jesus, that sucks. Okay, that was stupid. So I hit X and I thought that it would like hide the thing, but it just like kill. I have no idea what happened. Yeah, I think I just blew everything up. That was really weird. All right. Well, I'll try it again and I'll let it run offline. I'll let you guys know what happens. CD image builder. Okay, awesome. All right. Anything else y'all want to look at, or should we close it out? I feel like this is a good stopping point. I'll just let this thing run in the background and let you all know. This is great work, Friedrich, and I mean, it's just really cool, man. Yeah, we're gonna be able to do a lot with this. So we're gonna need to like show people how to use it, and I think the docs look really good to start. And I think we can do a TGIK on this in a week or two if y'all want. Maybe the two of you all run it, and I can show internally how to host a show.
Nice to just quickly show this at the SIG Windows.
Yeah.
Meeting as well.
Yeah, let's show it off at SIG Windows also. Maybe demoing it at CAPI would be maybe one of the CAPI meetings. Do you think there'd be an audience for this, or would we just be the weirdos that are talking about Windows? I don't know. What do you think, James?
I'm always the weirdo talking about Windows at CAPI.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Here's another idea. There are tools like Minikube, or what is it one? Kind. Do they not work pretty similar? And could we put them together?
Kind could be the next thing, right? Like we could potentially have Kind for the Linux node, and then Windows as the. I think we've talked about that. We just never did it.
Do you think a Windows node will run on Kind?
No, it's the other way around. Linux, you use Kind for the Linux node, and then we just run kubeadm print join token from inside the Kind cluster, right? And then whatever that URL, as long as the Windows node can route to it, then you can have a Kind cluster with an added on Windows node.
Make this stand up much quicker from the Linux side.
And then we can
but what about how are we going to bootstrap the Windows node still on Vagrant?
Yeah. So there'd be a Kind step. So the make file would do Kind create cluster, and it would make a Kind cluster. And then after it created that cluster, the make file would then go run a Vagrant recipe that created a Windows node, and then the Windows node would join to the Kind cluster.
What about CAPI? We create a Kind cluster that creates a control management cluster and creates our workload cluster, and we use CAPI to bootstrap all these things.
Yeah, that would be even cooler. But for that, we would need like a CAPI VirtualBox provider, which would be pretty cool to build.
Which can be a long-term weekend project. But
yeah, it would be a long weekend.
We could actually have, because they have the CAPD for Linux, but we can't run any of the CAPI tests against that because we don't have Windows nodes. So if we had like a CAP VB,
yeah,
you could actually run the CAPI tests against Windows.
Yeah, so that would be the thing, right? CAP VB. So yeah. Now, James, you know more about Cluster API than any of us. Like in general, if we decided to build a Cluster API VirtualBox provider, assuming that all the VirtualBox APIs worked for us, how hard would it be? Like how long would it take?
I've never written a provider from scratch, so I can't really answer that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody at Microsoft that would be interested in collaborating on something like that? Definitely, probably not a VirtualBox thing, huh? Yeah.
I saw some libvirt stuff going on with some people using libvirt as in the controller, so they integrate inside of VirtualBox, but I didn't go further. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think as is this thing, you know, we could do all that, but like just taking a step back, I'm like, well, we've been like kind of gunning it to like make this thing better and better and better for a while now. And I feel like we should probably do the basic stuff. Like it works. You just need Vagrant and VirtualBox. I think we should just like make James's situation work and make Calico work, make Antria work, add CSI, start running conformance tests on it. You know, we should just, now I feel like we should just do the easy stuff. Not easy stuff, but like the stuff that's like actually going to make the demos more useful to people, right? Because, you know, if we can show how to use CSI proxy with this and how to use different CNI providers and how to test host process containers and how to use Sonovui to run all the end-to-end tests, like I think people are going to get a lot more value out of that than having, you know, cluster API. I mean, it's just, you know, I think we should I think we should just get the cluster working now, right? Like just move up the stack, right?
Yeah, I agree. It was a joke. I just researched about cluster API stuff and got excited about grading. Wasting my time.
No, I mean it actually is a really cool thing to do. But I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, I think CSI and getting Antria and all that stuff is probably easier. It's hard. That stuff is also going to be hard. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's probably going to be more for us. It's going to be more valuable because I think we're going to get a huge audience with that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like if someone's like, because I've had several people come to me and say, hey, I want to work on this end-to-end test for Windows in Kubernetes, and I have to point them at AKS Engine, and then they need Azure, and then they need Google, and yada yada yada. If I could just say, go here, run up, and run the test against it, then they're up and running, right? It's like that's the story that I'd love to be able to push out more devs to be able to contribute to those types of things.
Yeah, we need to be part of that. And by the way, you can do that. Wenley's doing it. So Wenley's doing all of her stuff on these clusters. So you can run the end-to-end tests. We just haven't proven that to anybody yet, really, in the public. So I think that's what we need to do. We just need to basically like you did with those experiments, you know, we need to basically really flesh out several readmes on different things you can do with this, right? Here's how you test image builder. Here's how you test the end-to-end. Here's how you do everything and there's 4 things, right? End-to-end test, storage, networking, and image builder, right? Like we just basically need to have like, I see like 4 documents. Like here's 4 different things you can do. And then host process containers. It's not like it ends at 4, but like, those are like the 4 that I think of, and host process is like, so you'd maybe say 5, you know. But this is now finally the point where we get to start learning about Kubernetes, Friedrich. So it's good.
I have a job now in Kubernetes, and everything I do in SIG Windows helps me 0 in my job, and everything I learn in my job helps me 0.
Yeah, this is where it's going to start connecting though. So like, yeah, you came a long time.
Resource definitions.
Yeah, it's going to start connecting now because we're going to build that bridge. Because you're going to learn about CSI and CNI. You're going to like when you came to like learn more Kubernetes and do upstream, like you didn't think you were going to get thrown into this mess, but like finally you can actually start doing Kubernetes now because we have a platform we can build stuff on.
Join us, Frederick. Join us.
You can just come work here.
Yeah. We are.
A sneaky T-shirt just arrived yesterday from VMware, and I'm not allowed to look at it because it is a secret T-shirt.
Really?
I guess you guys know about this. And then it's hidden in a drawer. I can't see it. The hidden VMware T-shirt.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I don't know.
I don't trust you. You know.
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so Laurie received a parcel, and the parcel was a T-shirt from VMware, and it is about something fancy, and I'm not allowed to know about it. It's a hidden T-shirt.
Oh, cool. Oh, I think I know what it is. Yeah. Okay.
So
This is not recorded, right? Don't record this. Delete this.
Yeah, I know what it is.
about this E2E test, is the same the cap that we are doing, the conformance ones? Like how, I'm very curious how we can integrate this cap with this work we are doing and how these things will fit, if they will.
I don't think it fits into the cap. I think that, yeah, I think it's supportive of the cap because now anybody can run these tests on it, but it's not like, I think the cap, we just need to finish defining the Ginkgo tags for those tests. And we need to get consensus from other folks and just be like, okay, what's left? Maybe.
I gave a review last week.
Okay. Okay, so we have some review comments there. So yeah, we just got to finish the cap, but I don't think there's like, there's not a lot of code to write for that cap. It's more like getting consensus on it. So we can, let's see if I go to that.
I gotta go. Thanks. Excited
Okay.
to be able to run this on Windows.
Yeah, thanks for testing it, James.
Yes, thank you. See you around.
Yep.
There's Claudio.
Yeah.
Claudio's still here. All right. All right, I gotta go too. Let's just follow up on this later. This is awesome though, Friedrich. This is really cool.
Don't thank me. Thank a meme. He was driving it.
Well, I
He
mean,
pointed me in the right direction.
no, this is a big win. So this is big for cluster API, and it's going to get VMware really behind this. I think, that's part of it, because now the VMware and the cluster API community is going to be able to point to this as an example of how their tooling is valuable, and it'll help boost us in that sense, right? As opposed to us just building all of our own tools. So that's how I see this being like strategic for us, like politically, in terms of getting this damn repository adopted. I don't know, guys, we're going to get to like, let's see, how many stars do we have? Windows Dev Tools. If I go to the repo, okay, we got 41 stars. That's pretty good. 18 forks. I think this is going to get us to like 60 stars, you guys. All right.
Okay.
Cool. All right. We'll catch up later. See you guys.
See you later.
Thanks for all the hard work. This is awesome.